a quick build overview. I'll start from DPS and defense, and then probably add some tips and tricks or what I found useful. Basically, our main single target skill is a rapid shot. It has not that big DPS at the beginning, but once you start shooting and you hit a reload part, it can be increased like dramatically. In my case, it's like in 5 times or even more. It depends. So as you can see here, my current critical hit chance is like 40%, and critical hit damage bonus is like 300. And it comes from this class basically. Without it, my critical damage bonus is really low, and that helps me to avoid seeking for these critical damage bonus nodes in a skill tree. So I think it's really worth this glove slot. So I think these gloves are really nice for this build. As for the support camps, I believe that the most important are first 3 support camps. Basically, it's this one which gives us a lot of damage once we reload rapid shot. Another is attack speed. It helps to like basically stack hit faster, and just maximum physical damage, this extra fire damage, and in the end I have a fire pen, but I believe it can be switched for something different or like even used as a 5-link, because fire pen is not that necessary, and you can get a fire pen from different sources. For example, oil grenade, which gives a fire exposure. In my case, I have a gloves with a fire pen corruption, and it was really cheap. Basically the same cost as a not corrupted gloves. So you can try to get use of this socket by your own. And yeah, as for the clearing, I'm using explosive shot, and again, like the most important here is like 2 additional projectiles, some elemental damage, close combat. I'm using it over fire shot because basically enemies are always really close to me. And these two I believe these two can be also switched because here this one works only once we get enemies ignited, and you can get them ignited only like from Herald of Ash. And this one is also not that necessary because the main source of area comes once you kill at least few minions, and then you proc your ascendancy explosion. So I believe these two can be also switched for something different. And yeah, and like the most interesting part I think is cast of ignite setup. Basically I'm using a flammable and I have winter. This one is for additional added damage. I hope it like works as it says. And this one definitely works. It gives us like a 10% critical chance with this critical weakness. I'm not sure how exactly it stacks, but even if it's like plus 10% in here, once we have this 10%, the DPS maybe increases like for a lot, in my opinion. At least when I can see that we have a 10 stacks of critical weakness on boss, it starts dealing much more damage. And in the end we have just this emergency reload for even more damage. You won't see these numbers on the rapid shot DPS tool, but it works, so it just works. The oil grenade is again for additional exposure. I'm using it only on bosses, and maybe if you find a really beefy rare, you can also shoot this. And the Herald of Us is simply just for 2 additional support camps. Accuracy, because we get additional attack speed from accuracy, and it's just a quality of life game, so you do not need to press your life flask every second. Wind Dancer has a blind. Blind gives us a huge boost of survivability, and pin. These two games just pin and extra pin. So for non-rare monsters, it once they proc your Wind Dancer, it can pin them at the same time. So I think it's really good, and for me it works very well. As you can see, I do not have a shield from my Ascendancy at the moment. That's because I am testing a different setup, and I will explain why. So I'll show my item first. This is a crossbow from the secondary weapon. I'm using it for explosive shot. And this one with high critical damage, I'm using it for rapid shot, obviously. My items are not that like expensive, but I think they are not cheap. So I believe the most expensive is this crossbow. It cost me like 2 or 3 divines. These two uniques are like 1 divine each, and like this armor is 2 divines probably, and part of jewelry, I bought it for exalts, but you need to like search a little bit and use exalts as a price for this kind of stuff. Belt is simply just for additional damage, but I have a plan. If you know a rare unique belt which gives you increased effects from your rings, I believe this could be a next level update if you will get good rings with a lot of additional physical or fire damage to attacks, or probably even like any elemental damage and physical damage. And you will use that belt with a high roll, it should give you much more than this one. For example, with this belt, it gives me like 7,000 of initial DPS, but I think once we will have a pulp for PoE 2 or something like that, or I'll just have extra divines to get that belt and test it, the numbers should be much more better. But for now, this DPS, it's simply enough for me to clear T15, T16 maps and some starting and game bosses. I'll show you my atlas. So as you can see, I got some delirium bosses. This one is really easy as for me. I got some breach lord. Oh, I didn't use this spell. This goes like it's just takes some time and your passion. As for Arbiter, I already tried it 2 times and failed on the mind games with Circle, but I have a trick which supposed to work because it worked for me with second breach boss, and that's why we do not have our passive for the energy, like for the ward, so we don't have ward. What I tried is this. Now, right now you can see I have a 66% of evasion, and that's basically because I have an acrobatics. And what I noticed is that the acrobatics, it works very good with such bosses, especially with game bosses such as Breach, which spams a lot of stuff. You simply, if you have a really poor dodging skills like me, you probably want to use acrobatics because it just saves you 66% of times. Yeah. And I found that ward is also useful, but probably mostly for mapping. And the elemental damage is not that async most of the time. But if you will skip, for example, in my case, if I will skip acrobatics, I will have a really huge chance to dodge the stuff. That's because I have everything with evasion, and in addition I have this node which makes you like, yeah, really evasive. But if I will take ward, give me take my ward. If I will, what? Oh yeah, I need to skip this one. So if taking the ward, you'll have like a 3000 of ward, you'll have a 78% chance to wait and 84% chance to wait melee attacks, but it doesn't work for everything. So literally every AoE attack from boss can hit you. And you'll see I'll show you 2 minutes of fight with a bridge boss when he could kill me like probably 5 times in 2 minutes, but because of the acrobatics taken, I could survive that fight and win it in the end. So what I want to tell you is that most of the bosses doesn't seems to have that much elemental damage, but they have a lot of physical damage, and since we do not have any physical mitigation, the best would be trying to get acrobatics and just simply avoid that damage. So that, yeah, that it is. And what I have in the end, yeah. So what I want to tell you in the end, it's not top gear you can get. So simply this is 538 DPS bow, and you can get even like better bows with more DPS, up to 600 and a little bit more, if you don't want to spend like 50 divines. So I believe like a 600 DPS bow will cost around 5-8 divines. And as for the crossbow for explosive shot, I suggest you getting the one with mod, which gives you additional bolt, because I mean, even though it's fairly quick reloads, but having 2 explosive shots instead of 1 is it's a real quality of life. That's great. And as for the charms, I prefer using right now for a stun. Maybe you can get one for freeze, but I found that even though stun charm works right after you get stunned, it doesn't prevent you being stunned. It still seems to be much better, because sometimes you can be surrounded, and to avoid stun lock, I probably suggest using this one. So just to summarize the things, what you can get like better. You can get better jewelry and another unique belt for DPS. You can get a better chest for more evasion rating to boost this one like up to 75%. I think that's like an optimal number. You can get a better chaos resistance. My boots are not the perfect one, and like my amulet is simply critical hit chance, life, and spirit, and of course some attributes. But the attributes can be picked up from the tree. As you can see, I have like a lot of dexterity, and it can be lowered a little bit. And probably, yeah, better helmet with more, again, evasion rating. But you need to get, like, remember that critical hit chance is also really important mod. And you can hit it only on, like, a helmet and an amulet. And, of course, we have it on these unique gloves. So, yeah. If you have any questions can just like get to me in the comments, or I don't know, even write if I'm online, I will answer it. So yeah, see you and good luck, guys.
It's a fool.